What is up, guys? A very good morning and welcome back from, I think for some, a very familiar background, but I'm back in Holland, back in my home office. I am going to do a few changes here and some upgrades, but more on that very, very soon. But without further ado, let's dive into today's market outlook because we have seen some very major moves. So starting off with the dollar index, the dollar index moved in towards that area of supply yesterday, which I've been pointing out for quite some time now. As we can clearly see, we did not yet close above this high. If we would have seen a candle close above this high, that would have meant that this would have been your swing low, and this of course now would have been your swing high, with this being the pullback on the swing structure. So what does that mean that we have not closed yet above this high? Well, it means that this is still your swing low and that we can still pull further back whilst remaining bullish from a swing structure perspective. Now, what I'm going to be looking for is, of course, a potential bullish reaction from this area of demand. This is the area of demand which took out this supply zone and also took out the structural high, and pretty much also took out this structural high, pushing price up higher in towards that extreme area of supply. Now, going in towards the 1 hour, we can then, of course, look deeper in towards that area of demand on the 4 hour and see, okay, is there any area of specific demand on, let's say, the lower time frame that looks very interesting? Well, not really. Looking at the 15-minute as well, then you do see a refined area of potential demand, because then what you'll see is that this is just a clean move which can pretty easily be filled, and that this over here is then pretty much the area where you potentially want to see price start pushing in towards. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for over here from the dollar index. It could of course move anywhere within this area of 4 hour demand. But yeah, just look at the 15-minute and then you'll see that the 4 hour still has some more potential to move down lower. One thing that we do have to take notice of is that inside of this 4 hour push up, there's not really any liquidation. So what does this mean? That means that inside this kind of correction itself, there needs to be a form of liquidation, or it becomes liquidation itself and we push down lower in towards that extreme area of demand. Due to the fact that we're still bullish, that is still a very high possibility. So those are the two options that I'm going to be looking for. Both are long opportunities, but for that to occur, we need liquidation created on our own low, or we need to push down lower in towards this extreme area of 4 hour demand. So that's the dollar index. Moving on in towards euro dollar now. So euro dollar from a 4 hour perspective. So yeah, 4 hour on euro dollar, as we of course can pretty much see, it is still ranging. When price is ranging, it is best to just stick to the extremes of the market, meaning that you want to be buying at the bottom 25% mark and you want to be selling at the top 75% mark. So I use the range trading tool for that. And then just an example, what we then want to do is something like this over here, where this is kind of like your obvious range, and every time you come in towards the 75% mark, that is when you want to be selling. 25% mark approximately is when you want to be buying, and the 50% mark is when you want to be staying out of the market. So we can clearly see 25% mark is your support, 75% mark is your resistance. So we're now nearing that 75% mark with a very clear area of supply, which took out this area of demand, which of course pushed price in towards that extreme area of supply. Now, focusing on the 4 hour time frame, the 4 hour is of course still bullish from a swing structure perspective. However, overall structure is just rangy, so that means that let's say the market is less reactive to those structure, and you just need to focus purely and pretty much on liquidity and supply and demand. So yeah, market could start pushing price down from this area of supply on the 4 hour. That's what I'm going to be keeping my eyes out for. For euro dollar. Then moving on in towards the 15-minute time frame, we can clearly see that we're currently reacting to this 15-minute supply zone, which I was looking to short from yesterday if we were to see kind of like a higher pullback and then a push down. But now we can see that the 15-minute has now flipped bullish, meaning that it is still very high probability that we're going to move up higher in line, because the 4 hour is now bullish from a swing structure perspective and the 15-minute is now also bullish. There's a high probability of us pushing up higher in towards that higher supply zone, unless we see some kind of aggressive reaction in towards the downside. But for now, it does not look like that. So it does look like the 15-minute on the dollar, on euro dollar, wants to push up higher, and that could of course align overall with the dollar index wanting to push down lower, because if the dollar index moves down lower, it means euro dollar moves up because of the fact that the euro becomes stronger against the dollar. So that's euro dollar for you. Let's see if we see any reaction potentially in that high refined 15-minute area of supply. So moving on in towards Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, guys, from a daily perspective over here, yes, still very corrective in towards the downside. We liquidated the lows over here with this low, and since then we've, let's say, reversed very aggressively in towards the upside. Now I am keeping my eyes open due to the fact that we've, for a very long time been in this descending, corrective, correction. We've been tapping in towards the supply zone multiple times. The only thing that this supply zone has really achieved is, let's say, providing us with liquidation. Moving in towards the weekly real quick. We're still, no, nothing really. I was referring to these imbalance candles on a weekly time frame, but we've taken them out. But let's just focus on the daily for now, and it does look like Aussie dollar wants to push up higher, break this internal high over here, and push up higher. Daily is still bearish from a swing structure perspective from this high in towards this low. But this correction does really look like Aussie dollar wants to push up higher. So I will be looking for potential long if the 4-hour breaks above its swing high over here. Currently, we're still located inside 4-hour supply and daily supply over here. But if we do see a close above it, then what I'll be looking for is a push even higher in towards this area of supply. Then we wait for the pullback, and then we long up in towards this fresh area over here with all the liquidation above these highs. That's the current game plan for Aussie dollar. Just wait for it to push up higher. It does look like it want to push up higher in towards 0.64781. From there, wait for the pullback and then an additional long. Of course, if we still do reject from this area, then just target this area of demand over here, and we can still trade Aussie dollar down lower with the 15-minute structure. But the 15-minute structure is a little bit complicated because we saw a 50-minute break of structure over here on this high, meaning that all the way down here is now your 50-minute swing low. So we would need to see some kind of like deeper correction, then a push up, because then this is your swing low on the 15-minute, and then it will be much easier to trade the 15, because now we have to wait for this swing low over here to break, and that's just going to take a long time if you want to get those high probability 15-minute shorts in line with the overall 4-hour trend at that moment. Moving on in towards pound dollar. So pound dollar, guys, over here on the 4-hour, kind of the same as on euro dollar, very choppy, but let's just focus on the internal structure, and the internal structure is still looking bearish for now. A push down, pull back, push down, push up, break of structure. People look for longs over here, but again, no liquidation in that move up, meaning that the people who go long get liquidated themselves. Then there was no real kind of like bullish intentions. Break of structure over here. Now this is kind of like your pullback in towards the highs, this ascending corrective price action. Price react to this supply zone, but again, the internal structure, for example, from a 1-hour perspective, is not looking very good for now. Again, very corrective price action. I'm not really seeing it over here on pound dollar. I do think it would be obvious that we're going to push up higher, at least in towards this supply zone, and then wait for structure to shift, and then you could look for a potential short. Otherwise, let's just trade it up higher. I mean, in towards that daily area of supply, which we were looking at over here. So from a 4-hour perspective, I do think, higher prices are going to be incoming. But for now, no real position for me on pound dollar. We are currently reacting, pretty much to this imbalance candle over here. Now moving up. It is very likely that we're at least going to take out this high. Just keep an eye out for this 1-hour area of supply over here, from where you could potentially take a trade. But for now, it does look like we are going to move up higher in towards this 4-hour area of supply. Moving on in towards Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi dollar over here on the 4-hour broke structure. So we're now bullish on the 4-hour perspective, moved up in towards this area of supply. So potentially from here, you could now look for a potential pullback. Once we break this low over here, then for example, trade it in towards this demand zone. And then what you want to do is you want to, the 4 hours now made its pullback. Let's say this is, because this is your swing structure over here, right? So let's say your swing high is formed over here, trade it back down in towards even, let's say over here, 50% mark, 618, and then look to trade it up higher, because it does look like we could potentially start moving up higher in towards, let's say, the daily extreme area of supply, which is located, for example, over here. So let's see if we can get that from Kiwi dollar. The other 4 hour is looking good to push up higher, so keep that in mind when trading. So that is that for Kiwi dollar. Overall, just wait for a pullback in towards the downside. And then, of course, or what you want to see, for example, is that we could take a short-term short. If we kind of see some corrective price action in towards the highs, break the lows, pull it back in towards 4-hour demand, and then from there again we look for longs. So that is Kiwi dollar for you. But if we of course just continue up higher, you could still look for longs kind of like in the 15-minute bullish structure, because the 4-hour remains bullish. We do ultimately think that market will move up higher with the 4-hour swing structure now being bullish, and the daily us wanting to target potentially this area of extreme supply, because in here you have your supply. However, you can see it already got taken out over here, meaning that there's not as much supply left. So if we take out this high over here, then I am very confident that we are going to move up higher in towards here. So that's Kiwi dollar. Moving on in towards gold, of course. And gold, guys, yeah, very, very uninteresting in my opinion. It's very messy, but I mean, pretty much what we mentioned yesterday, inside of here, that's where all your demand lies. There's demand in everywhere, so it could react from everywhere. So you want to focus on the 15-minute structure. I was in the plane yesterday, so of course no opportunities to go long for myself. But ultimately what did occur was of course a break of this high over here. So that is this high. Yeah, we didn't close above it, sadly. But what you get is like push down, pull back, push down, pull back, push down, then push up, a pullback in towards this demand zone over here with these liquidity lows right above it, spiked in towards there and then pushed up higher. Then because of news, the market pushed down again. So now it is, yeah, you're kind of like inside of this supply zone. I would say this buy before the big sell-off. So again, yeah, for me, nothing interesting. Some people might like to trade this, but I'm not a big fan of it. When we see this, I much, yeah, preferably want to focus on the Kiwi dollar or Euro dollar. So that's that for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. A bit of a short one, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And make sure to join the Discord community. A lot of value is going to be shared there. And have a great day. Thanks, guys.